Hello, children. I hope you all are fine. Welcome to one more session of English where today we are going to learn one of the poems. Okay, before I start my session, let me ask you a question. Where do you find, what do you see in this picture? Yeah, the trees. Very good. And here, what you can see are the forests, right? Okay. Now, when I say, where do you find these trees? Can there be a forest without trees? Now, in this picture, where are the trees and where do they go? You can see these trees are decorative plants confined in the house, or you can call it as a greenhouse, right? Now, the poet Andrew Rich tries to make people realize that trees, plants, nature, animals, we human beings need freedom, right? If you confine these things into four walls, doesn't allow them to grow properly, what would happen? What will happen? So before I start, the poem Trees is written by Andrew Rich. What is the main idea of the poem? You can see here, the poem presents a conflict. What do we mean by the word conflict? And understand a certain thought process between man and nature. Now, nature always blesses man, right? But man, in return, what is he doing? When I say man, it doesn't mean a man or a woman; it is a mankind. While nature is more free and unbounded, man prefers to live in bounded spaces and also wants to corrupt nature. It's true. Nature is free. But what are we people, human beings? They are in bounded spaces. Bounded spaces mean are small, either in an apartment or in an individual houses. They are confined to four walls, a limited space. And in that limited space, they love to keep everything over there. They even try to limit nature. He uses plants for interior decoration of houses, cuts tree to make a house for himself, kills animals for food and other purposes, and cages them in zoos. If I'm not wrong, and if we have even learned a lesson, a tiger in the zoo, where we try to cage animals. We are so selfish that we don't leave anything. Yes, we try to make our houses very decorative by keeping decorative plants, never bothering what a plant feel. Now you may ask a question, ma'am, do plants feel? Jagdish Chandra Bose, a great scientist, what did he say? That plants do have feelings, right? So let me start. In all these ways, man corrupts nature and denies plants and animals the freedom in which they should live. The poem shows that trees and plants are rebelling against man as they strive to work their way out into the open. True. When you go on, try to corrupt the freedom of a person, takes a freedom of the person, how long that the person can stop reacting? How long? It will show its true color, right? Now in the present scenario, what did you see? The things which are facing now. Nature is taking its revenge. Yes, nature is taking its revenge. We are continuously polluting nature. Now, nature, how long it can forgive human being? It started its true color, started going on. It started trying to. It wants to teach lesson to human beings that see, when we give something, we don't expect something from you, but at the same time, don't try to destroy or pollute nature. Now, this is the main idea of the poem. Now, what is the other, the, there are three interpretations of this poem. Now, here the poet is saying, trying to compare the trees with human beings. Trees are symbolic of human beings, metaphor. Then it could be said that humans too want to break away from the shackles of the busy and selfish lives they lead. Shackles of busy life. You know, last year we have had a lesson, A Lake Isle of Inns Free. What the poet says, I would like to move away. I would like to go back to the place where I can live happily, right? In the same way, routine work, continuous work, we too want to break that. They also want to go out into the nature and be free. Just try to recollect that poem, The Lake Isle of Inns Free. What the poet wants to say, I would like to go back to the place where the nature gives you peaceful and a soothing effect. They work all day and sometimes all night to try and achieve something, though they do not have the time to enjoy it. Right? They keep striving hard in their routines as they feel cramped under the roofs of their homes and offices. Even they want to break free and go out into the peaceful nature. When we can go out of the peaceful nature, children, if the nature is pure, if we are allowing the nature to be as nature, green, full of greenery, no pollution, right? Here we need because we have to live there. Now, what is the poet trying to say here? He says that if we want to live, we have to make sure that we protect our own nature. Now, there are certain vocabulary in this poem. To disengage themselves, to separate themselves. Bough, it means branches. Lichen, what is a lichen? A crusty patches or bushy growth on trees. Bare ground formed by association of fungus and algae. You can see when there is a lot of water, when the water is stagnant, you can find these lichens. Now, before, what is that poem all about? Now, see the poem. The trees inside are moving out into the forest. The forest that was empty all these days, where no bird could sit, no insect hide, no sun bury its feet in shadow. The forest that was empty all these nights will be full of trees by morning. Now you may feel, how is it that the trees are moving? It's a personification, children. The trees inside are moving out into the forest. The trees are trying to move away from they want to break the shackles, they want to break the boundaries, and they want to go out into the forest because forest is with trees. And the forest is empty because there are no trees and there is no place for the birds and the insects to take shelter. Even if I am not wrong, we humans also, if there are no trees, then there will be no shelter during summer season or in the rainy season. He says that no sun bury its feet in shadow. The forest that was empty all these nights will be full of trees by morning. He says, within a night, what is going to happen? Is it that one night and one morning? Here, the night implies the nights of struggling. The night of struggling. He says that these nights, darkness, melancholy nights will come to an end where the forest, the trees which are confined in these four walls where human beings keep them as decorative may break the shackles and move out. He says this. He even says that the trees, all the nights the roots work to disengage themselves from the cracks in the veranda floor. All night the roots work to engage themselves from the cracks in the veranda floor. What he says that all night, all these roots will start trying to separate themselves from the cracks in the veranda floor. When it starts uprooting itself, there will be cracks, right? Now, cracks. Now, these cracks, where can you are? He says that why did the poet use the word veranda floor? Because these decorative plants are inside the house. Okay. Now he says that all the roots, all night they work, and when they work, what happens? The leaves strain toward the glass small twigs, stiff with exertion, long cramped boughs, shuffling under the roof like newly discharged patients, half dazed, moving to the clinic doors. I repeat, the leaves strain, they work hard toward the glass small twigs, small branches, stiff. They are stiff because there is no freedom for them to move with exertion. What is exertion? Lot of struggling. Long cramped bows. Long cramped. Imagine, how is it possible that 80 to 90 people put in one room? Will they able to move? No, they will not be able to move. Now take for example, if I take a pot and try to plant a mango tree, do you think the boughs, the branches, the roots, they will have sufficient place to spread themselves? No. So what they do? They cramp themselves. Yes. So the same way here, the boughs which are long are not able to spread themselves. So they are cramped, shuffling under the roof. They are cramped. They are not able to move here and there. And shuffling under the roof, kept under the roof. Now, how are these? They are compared to a newly discharged patient, half dazed, moving to the clinic doors. He says that how a patient after treatment, once he gets discharged, will he be able to walk quickly? No. How he walks? He staggers. He takes the help of a nurse or his relatives or his friends or railings to walk. The same way these bows also. The bows are compared to newly discharged patients. It is the poetic device used here is simile. So how beautifully the poet tries to tell what happens. Now he says, I sit inside. The poet says, I sit inside. Doors open to veranda. You can see there, writing long letters in which I scarcely mention the departure. Departure of what? Trees. Of the forest from the house. Now, did you see? The forest, the poet has tried to create a forest in his own house. It means he planted most of the plants in his house, making it like a forest. Now he says that I'm sitting now, looking towards the veranda, and I'm nowhere I'm mentioning about when the trees are going back to the forest. The night is fresh. The whole moon shines. Here, fresh means pure. In a sky still open, the smell of leaves and lichen still reaches like a voice into the rooms. The smell of leaves and lichen still reaches like a voice into the rooms, saying that, please, I would go back because I don't want again. But the aroma, the fragrance which it left in the poet's heart and in the poet rooms is still fresh. He says that I can never forget. At the same time, I don't want. The poet has realized that it is not correct to keep the plants or the animals, restrict their freedom, basic amenities. So here the poet says that he sits there and tries to understand. In this, the poet makes an sorry, my head is full of whispers, which tomorrow will be silent. Listen, the grass is breaking, the trees are stumbling forward into the night. Winds rush to meet them. The broom is broken like a mirror. Its pieces flash now in the crown. I repeat, my head is full of whispers, whispers, so many thoughts prevailing in the hand, in the many thought, lot of thought process going in the hand, in his head, the poet's head, which tomorrow will be silent. He says, today it is, but tomorrow I may not have anything to speak. Listen. The poet is trying to make us imagine the glass is breaking. Now here the glass refers to what? the roof, or you can say the roof or the floor, the roots are trying to come out. The trees are stumbling forward into the night. The trees are walking to the night. They're going out. And when they move out, winds rush to meet them. Winds. The nature trying to welcome them. Come back to the place where you are actually meant for, not in the houses. Everyone are trying to greet them, welcome them. The moon is broken like a mirror. Now, the moon is broken like a mirror. It is a personification as well as a simile. Now, the poet says that the moon is broken like a mirror. Its pieces flash now in the crown. You can see in the picture here how it is like a mirror over there. Why is he says that it is a mirror and it is like a crown? Because the trees are moved to the forest, and through the glade he could see the moon which looked like a crown. Now you imagine, here you may feel, Mom, how is it that the trees move into? Trees are going out here. Trees never go out. It is their imagination that trees, if what thought process the trees have in their mind when they are confined, when their freedom is restricted, when we keep them in our pots and put it and keep them as a decorative piece in our homes, right? What happens to them? They feel. Now, do you think really I have a plant in my home, in my pot? Do you think that really the plant breaks everything and goes out into the forest? It can't go. But we human beings, have to try to imagine that what is the emotional aspect the trees have when they are caged in a room, and what kind of room that is, a very suffocated, a small room where they cannot spread where they cannot grow freely, where their growth is restricted. Then, so what is the poet trying to, what is he trying to tell us? The poet makes an impassioned plea. He is requesting to mankind to free trees from the captivity of the indoor lives. Please don't captivate them. Please don't keep them in the indoor. Let them be where the night is full of freshness and the moon is captivatingly beautiful. The smell of leaves and lichen reaches those indoors like a voice coming from far away. Try to enjoy the beauty of the nature rather than trying to get it. Keep it for yourself. Understood? So, what is that poet? This poem is, you can say that you can compare this with all things. Now, what are the literary devices used in this poem? Sun buried its feet, sun has been personified, enjambment, there is a continuous line in the text. Well, at the last, there is a full stop. Two lines begin with no. The trees inside are moving out into the forest, shows a kinesthetic imagery. You have to imagine the trees never move from one place to another. Trees are compared to patience, as I told, simile. Twigs and boughs have been personified. All night the roots work. Do the roots really work? Alliteration, long letters, forest from sky still, leaves and lichen, all these are the alliterations. As a whole, the more it is imagery, you have to visualize it. You have to visualize your sensory organ. You have to visualize and try to find out what is the poet actually trying to tell us through this poem. What is he trying to tell us through this poem? Thank you, children.